Bet you thought the movie 300 was just a movie. Nope, they were kicking all kinds of people into pits. History has shown us many badass warriors who have dedicated their lives to taking names and kicking ass. But there were some in particular who went down in the history books for their strength, courage, and skill set in battle. And they were not all men. The type of lethal killers that if you tried to outrun them, you would only die tired. These are 10 badass warriors from ancient times. Number 1 is William Wallace. William Wallace was a hardcore 13th century freedom fighter who served as a central figure in the First Scottish War of Independence. Although his actual birth date is unknown, many historians have settled on the year 1270. What they know for sure is that he was a giant man standing over 2 meters in height who wielded a 72-inch long claymore in battle. He was also skilled with a massive bow and arrow. Yeah, not the kind of guy you would want to poke fun at for wearing a kilt. After William killed 5 British soldiers who had pissed him off by demanding the fish he had just caught, his girlfriend was executed. Which was a pretty bad idea, because Wallace went blood drunk on killing British soldiers for 8 years. He was finally captured in 1305 and given an execution that was much more gruesome than what was depicted in the 1995 film Braveheart. They can take out our heads, but they'll never take our freedom. Oh, yep, nope, they decapitated him. Okay, yep, I'm out. Number 2 is Zhenzu Dun. Zhenzu Dun offered his loyal services as military general to warlord Cao Cao in the late Eastern Han Dynasty. Again, birth year unknown, the man became a legend when during a battle in the year 190, he was hit by a stray arrow and lost his left eye. In front of amazed soldiers and enemies alike, he pulled the arrow out and devoured his own eyeball. They need to feed the men better in the trenches. Following this incident, enemy armies across China were afflicted by fear of blind Zhenzu, the one-eyed warrior. He later died in the year 220 AD after another 20 plus years of bloody battle, never once allowing his lack of vision to hold him back on kicking butt and taking names. Hey you, let's fight! You sure about that, boy? Number 3 is Spartacus. Born in the year 111 BC, Spartacus was a soldier from Thrace who served in the Roman army's auxiliary forces early in his life. He later attempted to flee from the army and was labeled a deserter and sold into slavery. He was then trained in a gladiator school where he was in the heavyweight category and fought with an oblong shield and a sword with a broad straight blade of 18 inches. Eventually, he got fed up killing for sport and broke free from his prison. He then set up a gladiator army and kicked Roman ass for 3 years before he himself was finally killed. For a long while, he was literally the most feared man alive. Are you not entertained? Well, I guess they're not entertained anymore. I'm done. Number 4 is Leonidas of Sparta. Leonidas of Sparta, the Greek warrior king born in 540 BC. Leonidas went through the rigorous training regime mandatory of all male Spartan citizens, which included brutal battles and hunting of vicious animals. When the Persian Empire set their sights on the city-state of Sparta, Leonidas met them at the Battle of Thermopylae. Now, he could have brought the entire 7,000-strong Sparta army, but instead made the battle a personal one, with the help of his 299 closest friends. The film 300 is actually pretty accurate in how badass this dude was. And yes, when Xerxes told him that his arrows would block out the sun, Leonidas actually replied, "Then we will fight in the shade." Against as many as 300,000 Persian warriors, Leonidas and his men held their own for 3 days until he was finally killed. At the time of his death, he was actually 60 years old, which makes him even more badass. When I'm 60, I just hope I don't break a hip, let alone able to fight. Number 5 is Lu Bu. Lu Bu was the invincible warrior from the Three Kingdoms period of ancient China, and one of the most feared and powerful warriors in the history of the world. Renowned throughout all of China, Lu Bu was a massive man who possessed immense strength. He also possessed a mastery of archery and horsemanship, and on top of all of this, he was brilliant in hand-to-hand combat. He was also a man who had a problem with authority, having chopped off the head of his own adopted father. Well, Every family has their troubles. He later went on to kill 2 warlords, Ding Wan and Dong Zhu, who he was actually working under. He then traveled China, looking over his shoulder for nearly a decade, fighting in almost any battle that he could get involved in, but his lack of loyalty, morals, and ethics would ultimately lead to his execution at the hands of Cao Cao, another warlord who liked his head on his shoulders. Number 6 is Yu Fi. Yu Fi was born in 1103 to a poor farming family in China's Henan province, who would later become a warrior legend and the icon of patriotism in Chinese culture. Throughout his youth, he trained relentlessly, mastering the 18 weapons of war, which include swords, axes, hammers, spears, and even the trident. He also studied martial arts and was a master archer. This all came very much in handy when he signed up to fight for the Song Imperial Army at the age of only 18. He rose through the ranks, fighting in 126 battles, never losing once. He's basically the Luke Skywalker for the Chinese, but the real deal, and his ass-kicking abilities are still studied and taught to this day. Use the Force, Yu Fi. Oh, okay, or just stab him, stab the guy. That works too. Good job. Number 7 is Attila the Hun. Attila was the great unifier of many nomadic Hun tribes during his rule from 434 till his death in 453. A man so renowned for his bloodlust, ruthlessness, and determination, and mercilessness, unstoppable ass-kicking powers that his enemies across Europe simply referred to him with the nickname the Scourge of God. Attila's army mercilessly stomped across the Balkans and much of present-day Europe on horseback with bow and arrows, erasing many cities and towns from existence. His armies finally reached the gates of Rome, and he is credited for doing his part in bringing about the fall of the once mighty Roman Empire. Yo, Caesar! Yo, what's up, man? Yeah, you gon' die, but you know, I'm gonna let you keep your name for your salads, cause they good. Okay, here we come, you die now. Number 8 is Khalid ibn al-Walid. Khalid was born in 584 and dubbed the Sword of Islam. He was the military mind behind the Islamic conquest of Iraq, Jordan, Palestine, and Syria during the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar. This man was so hardcore that he and his army would ride through the desert on camels, kill them and drink the water out of their humps, and then continue on foot so that they could attack towns and armies by surprise. The man would go through several swords while in combat because he would literally break them on his enemies' heads. Eventually, he became so powerful that he began taking attention away from his Islamic god Allah and was forced into retirement. Being the badass warrior that he was, he then signed up as a foot soldier in the army and fought for the rest of his life. He finally died at the age of 58, bitter that his life was never taken in battle. Well, you can't always die from what your job is, man. I mean, there's no YouTube video that's gonna take my life. Is there? Number 9 is Alexander the Great. Born in 356 BC, there's a reason that King Alexander III of Macedon has Great in his title. Though he died at the age of 33, the famous Greek king managed to conquer every major kingdom known at that time, including Persia, Syria, Judea, Egypt, and even Mesopotamia. And that's just to name a few. In his career, he never once lost a battle, even though he was typically outnumbered. Although he fought on the front line each and every time, and although he was short in stature, he certainly knew how to handle his horse and sword. In the end, it was a night of drinking that did him in, of all things, likely due to poisoning by someone who didn't think that he was such a great guy. Well, if he died of drink, you gotta pour one out for the homies. I have to clean this up. And number 10 is Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, also known as Mongol Destroyer or Holy Warrior, was a warlord, leader, and conqueror whose success is unparalleled in history. Born in 1162, Genghis Khan assembled the Mongolian Empire, the greatest empire of all time, and led his armored soldiers from Japan to Iran, leaving behind an estimated death toll in the tens of millions. The only thing that he seemed to love more than killing was lovemaking. The man had several several wives and thousands of partners, so much so that a study conducted by the American Journal of Human Genetics suggested that as much as 8% of the Asian population and 0.5% of the global population are descendants of this war machine. Well, I'm surprised he didn't also get the nickname of Rabbit, because this dude liked to fuck. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure you subscribe to this channel so that you never miss a video from me. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!